What he's describing is the uniparty sentiment on market solutions, the public-private partnership. Democrats and Republicans both believe that, okay? There is no alternative vision in the Democratic Party. And as a matter of fact, ones who suggest an alternative vision in the Democratic Party are cast aside as outsiders, routinely from the ranks, the Bernie Sanders of the world, right? A lot of people say, a lot of people misunderstand when I say Democrats and Republicans are aligned on a lot of very important issues that pertain to our day-to-day existence here in the United States of America, and also a lot of issues that pertain to America's, okay? And I think this guy does a very good job of basically breaking down that exact sentiment. I don't know who this guy is. The woke bloke, he says, it's about the issues you don't even think about. Hashtag politics, hashtag leftist, hashtag liberal. I reposted it. He says, dear liberal, Democrats and Republicans are the same. Now, for the record, I almost completely agree with this person. Okay? You watching a video is not a matter of fact ESL. Did you forget about the plugin that auto-blocked all blue checks marks when Elon bought Twitter? Yeah, that plugin blocks me too, technically, because Elon forcibly gave me a blue check mark because I'm a power user on the platform, so I'm cursed with it myself. And there's no way for me to lose that blue check mark, unfortunately. A lot of your haters don't even seem to care that much about the 9/11 shit. Anyone angry is either performative or misunderstood. Oh, no, it is. It is a totally performative anger. And I'll give you a great example of this. Bill Maher, immediately after 9/11, said, those dudes that did 9/11 were brave. You know what's not brave? Lobbing hellfire missiles from thousands of miles away at innocent civilians. That's not brave. But those guys literally got in a plane and drove the plane into the towers. That's brave. Nobody ever brings that up when talking about Bill Maher. Why doesn't anybody bring that up when talking about Bill Maher? Because nobody gives a shit. Bill Maher said that after 9/11, like literally the week of 9/11, he said that. He lost his job because of that. Okay? It's been downhill for him ever since, as far as like spicy takes goes. Okay? I've seen people who have made 9/11 jokes but act offended when they want to shit on you. Exactly. It's all fake bullshit. Okay? I will also add one other element to the 9/11 Hasan said America deserved 9/11 moment. I'm an American citizen. And one part of this conversation that always seems to get lost is I said, we totally deserved it. As in me, America, like me, an American citizen. We totally did, dude. That was my follow-up. Okay? And yet, nobody ever seems to think that I am an American when they're talking about this. I wonder why. You see what I mean? Because every single person that says Hasan's analysis here is actually every single person that like intentionally misunderstands what I'm trying to say does not see me as an American citizen, does not see me as one of their neighbors. They see me as an outsider with a dangerous, scary ideology that wants to destroy America. This kind of attitude used to be reflected openly by right-wingers. My entire career, I have heard this from right-wingers. You hate America? Get the f out. Oh, you love terrorism? Get the f out. Now I hear from liberals as well. This is a major problem. I don't think the average liberal has this kind of attitude. I don't think so. I don't think that the average liberal that you see, the average normie liberal that you see in the wild has this kind of attitude. I don't think they feel this way at all. But a lot of the commentators do. And those commentators online get their notes from the Democratic Party. So I feel like over the course of the past couple of decades, I think the Democratic Party, like the politicians, the apparatus, and their communications has gotten more right-wing, has gotten more racist, especially as it pertains to defending foreign policy. Okay? Anyway, dear liberals, Democrats and Republicans are the same.
That leftists say, this is the one that pisses off liberals the most, because it just seems so unfair. right? There are objective differences between Democrats and Republicans that go beyond the red and the blue. And I will credit that to you. If we had a Kamala Harris presidency right now, we would not be trying to tariff our allies. We would not be trying to extort corporations and universities. We would not have passed the big, beautiful bill. We would have a president that is nominally pro-choice. And you know what? More than anything in your personal life, at minimum, you would feel more comfortable. And there are other issues that I will grant you that Democrats and Republicans have differences on. These are objective truths. But here are some additional objective truths. There are,
again, something that I talk about all the time. Okay? Something that I talk about all the time. There are Democrats, there are major differences between the Democratic Party and the way that the Republican Party operate. It's true, objectively. Anyone that says there aren't serious policy differences when it comes to like domestic policy on the issues that he brought forth, okay? Anyone that says there is no difference between these two elements is wrong. It's not something that I've ever advocated for. There are instances where Democrats are completely unable to push back against the Republicans and allow the Republicans to dominate the space. But like ultimately, in theory, there are ideological differences between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. However, there are very important points that pertain to everyday American existence where the Democrats and Republicans are completely aligned with one another, and we don't even think about those things because we just take it for granted as the norm. And I think he's going to describe it, okay?
There are huge areas of our political life that Democrats and Republicans have reached consensus on, and you don't even think about. Consider the economy. Democrats and Republicans agree that we are going to have a free market capitalistic economy. And while we'll fight over what the social safety net should look like, with Democrats wanting subsistence level and Republicans wanting starvation, ultimately at the end of the day, every single problem is going to start with a free market solution, which is how we approach
neoliberalism. What he's describing is the uniparty sentiment on market solutions, the public-private partnership. Democrats and Republicans both believe that, okay? There is no alternative vision in the Democratic Party. And as a matter of fact, ones who suggest an alternative vision in the Democratic Party are cast aside as outsiders, routinely purged from the ranks, the Bernie Sanders of the world, right? Either if you are this type of person, if you say, no, we need socialization, we need a higher degree of socialization, which doesn't automatically even mean you are a socialist. You could be a social democrat. We need market regulation. We need higher degrees of socialization in public services that need to be controlled by the government. If you were to make that argument as a social democrat who is still a goddamn capitalist, okay, you are literally cast aside or co-opted by the party apparatus to stop pushing on these agendas, to stop pushing on these issues. That's just the truth. The Democratic Party does not give you room to breathe and room to operate and allow you to make any sort of real gain towards socialization because the consensus has been established. The only solution to ongoing problems that Americans are facing have to be solved with a public-private partnership. Okay?
Approach healthcare, another huge area of our lives. Harry Sisson, the future of the liberal Democratic Party, says that it is unrealistic for Democrats to pursue universal healthcare. The kid's like 20 years old. What a vision. And Republicans agree with him, just like they agree with Democrats on the military. We are going to spend almost $1 trillion per year on a military that we do not use to fight wars and instead use to prop up a genocidal state, something that Democrats and Republicans also agree on. Because there are some things that just rise above partisan discourse, right? Like our national story. This country was founded upon justice, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness.
I do read a lot of what the Democrats say as like, we need to find consensus as this. They just want people to shut the fuck up. They want the Republicans to be in line and to recognize that they are also on board with a lot of the same shit, and that we should have reasonable discussion, reasonable discourse on how many trans people should be eradicated from public life, how many immigrants should be purged. We're both on board with immigrants being purged, mind you. Like, it's gonna happen. There is no alternative vision here. We're not saying the counterbalance on the Democrat side is not amnesty, conditional amnesty. The counterbalance on the Democrat side is, we're going to kick out immigrants too, because we also believe that they're criminal rapists, but like, we want 30% less immigrants to be kicked out. You know what I mean? Whereas the Republicans are like, we got to kick every brown person out, not just the immigrants, but also like American citizens across the board. So like, that's not a real, that a consensus has been established on first principles, a consensus that unfortunately revolves around a complete falsehood. The idea, the notion that like immigrants constitute a national security threat, that is ridiculous. That is the reason why things consistently keep getting worse. If you are a liberal and if you're a Democrat voter and you're wondering how do the goddamn Republicans keep winning elections over and over again, why can't people see how bad they are? Understand that on the other side of that coin, the coin that you consistently vote for, the side that you consistently vote for is actively propping up their position, the Republican, the opposition's framework, as the normal framework when it is not established from a shared reality that we experience and instead is pure vitriolic hysteria. It's just made up. And when Democrats don't counter message against that, when they don't actively fight against those first principles that it is that Republican white nativist anti-immigrant agenda making comes from, they lose. In the simplest terms, as the Chapo boys always say, like, why would you purchase the diet soda when you can get the full strength soda that's right there? This was a major problem with Kamala Harris. This isn't to say don't vote for the Democrats. I'm not saying that, okay? Because like people immediately get mad. They go, realistically, who else am I supposed to vote for if not the Democrats? I never said don't vote for the Democrats, chatter. I said hold them to account, wield them like a weapon. Make sure that if you have, like, you should always have a policy first approach. A lot of people personally believe it's just team sports. It's not. It's not team sports. It's about the policies, right? So we have to literally hold their feet to the fire. If they won't do this out of the kindness of their hearts, which they will never do, right? Because they are so echo chambered, they're so tunneled in, they're in their little bubbles where the only people that they talk to are lobbyists and incredibly wealthy people. We have to make ourselves undeniable. We have to make ourselves unavoidable. We have to keep pushing. Okay? That's why these organizations that exist outside of the duopoly framework, like the DSA, PSL, and labor unions, are so important. That's why I always push for that. That's why I always push for protest. Not just protest against the Republicans, which of course you also have to keep doing, but even protest against the Democrats as well. Okay? We have to force them to do the right thing. We have to force them, unfortunately, to behave like a real anti-fascist, anti-Republican party. And it's clear that they won't do it because, as this guy correctly points to, is something I say all the time. This is a perfect summary of the way I describe events. There's consensus on a lot of issues that there shouldn't be consensus on.
And leftists look at all of this and they think it's bullshit, but they also add it all up, and it's about 80% of our political life. Leaving around 20% is the area of acceptable debate between the parties. So if I told you that something was 80% the same as another thing, would you say that they're actually the same? Probably not. But you could get away with saying they're basically the same. I think out of anything that leftists say, this is the one that pisses off liberals the most, because it just seems so unfair, right? There are objective differences between Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, that's it. Like, nobody in here, unless they're just like utterly delusional, thinks that there aren't any differences whatsoever between the Republicans and the Democrats. Like, they are one and the same. I do not believe this. I say they have incredible similarities on issues of existence that up your life in a very meaningful fashion. And if they were to actually focus on those differences, or the areas where there is consensus when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to Israel, when it comes to endless amounts of money going into the military so we can go and like kill people overseas, when it comes to a public-private partnership being the only solution to these issues, whether it be housing, whether it be healthcare, whether it be college. These are all genuine problems that pertain to your everyday existence that the Democrats and the Republicans actually are in agreement on. The disagreements that they have are basically like, how do we get there? Is it 100% of migrants that need to be off and forcibly excised as an aberration, removed from American society? Or is it like 50% of the migrants? Like, that's not a real disagreement, okay? That's not. This is why team sports, it doesn't even make sense, because when teams are going up against one another, they're not playing for the same team, okay? They're playing against one another. But as he correctly pointed to, the 80-20, 80% of the goals that the Democrats are scoring are own goals. This week, House Democrats are in Israel with AIEF to see the Jewish state firsthand, meet with top officials across the political spectrum, and see Israel's ongoing efforts to provide aid into Gaza. Thank you, Representative Steny Hoyer, for your strong pro-Israel leadership. Only 8% of the Democratic voters support Israel's onslaught, but some House Democrats are more interested in catering to AIPAC than representing the 92% of Dems who have broken with Israel. This makes no sense. That's why so many people literally think like, oh, they have like Jewish mind control. They're doing Jewish hypnosis, or they're doing like blackmail operations, right? Like that's it. Because it makes no sense. This is such a major division between the voters, their understandable and justifiable demands, and the actual politicians themselves, who are just like, nah, I don't hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Hi, I'm Steny Hoyer. I'm a congressman from Maryland.
Let me look at this motherfucker's age for a second. Hold on. Steny Hoyer age. Brother, this was born before Israel. Brother, you are older than the state. That's crazy. That's crazy. What do you mean? 86 years old, going to Israel, being like, hello, I'm Steny Hoyer, and I'm here at the Jewish state. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Yeah, he's not the oldest sitting congressperson. That's the Republican. What's his face? The one that posts. The one that's a poster. I love that guy. What's his name? I'm forgetting it now. I'm sure someone in the chat's going to say, yeah, Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley's the oldest, right? My goat, the Republican Chuck Grassley. He's insane. His posts are so funny.
For majority leader. In addition, I've been to Israel now 22 times, and we've just spent a week here. Obviously, extraordinary.
Chuck Grassley is 91 years old, and my goat, still posts. Can you clearly express the contours of the HasanAbi models and methods of successful agitprop online and in person sometime? If not now, at your leisure? Sure.
Serious time. And what we found is, contrary to world opinion, Israel has been doing everything it possibly.
Hi, I'm Chuck Grassley. I'm Steny Hoyer, and while many of the young hip-hop style children online are saying that Israel's doing I can't even say the word. I came here to see for my own two eyes, and it turns out it's very anti-Semitic to make this statement. Contrary to world opinion, I believe Israel is doing the right thing by all the Palestinian children. Grassley is the oldest sitting senator. Hoyer is the oldest standing senator. What do you... Like, is that a joke because he's standing up right now? Is that what you're saying? Because, like, Chuck Grassley can't stand up? I'm confused. All-time Grassley tweet? Yeah, this is Chuck Grassley. This is why I say he's a poster. I'm at the Jefferson, Iowa Dairy Queen doing you know what. That's the joke? Okay, well, I'm neurodivergent, okay? Y'all are being ableist. Y'all are being ableist. Don't expect me to get jokes. Bro thought jokes would fly, okay? We know jokes don't fly. Mina Kimes, the HasanAbi head? Who's Mina Kimes? Reading this GQ magazine, Blue Sky Social, profile of Hasan Piker and God, this paragraph just made me feel like the Crypt Keeper. Mina Kimes, NFL analyst at ESPN. Let's go. She said, reading this GQ magazine, Blue Sky Social, profile of Hasan Piker, and oh my God, this paragraph just made me feel like the Crypt Keeper. They're the creators who play basketball with like Ludwig, Buddha, and the video game speedrunners like Point Crow, and the influencer co-hosts podcast, Cootie Cinderella, Will Neff, and Austin Show. You could visualize the streaming world as a series of lunch tables or loose clusters of collaborators like the AMP Collective and the FaZe Clan. This world of influencers is own Hollywood with a distinct cast of A-listers and cult faves. Piker recently attended creator Tariyami's birthday party. Yeah, I realized that like if you don't know anything about streaming, you probably read that and you're like, that is the craziest. Like, who are these people? Like, who the heck are these people? Jason the Ween, FaZe Adapt. And then you're just like, the only person that you hear is like Miranda Sings and Love Island contestants. Like, that's the only decipherable part of this puzzle, you know? Anyway, let's get back to this shit.
To ensure that there's minimal damage to civilians who are not part of Hamas's.
Dude, Israel's PR, excellent, okay? It's hot. Israel, real hot right now. Yeah, this is great, man. This is great. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for telling us exactly what's going on. Israel's so hot right now, dude. They got the best people on this, okay? Virtually every single human being with a conscience has seen the charred flesh of children that Israel has melted with our weapons and goes, enough is enough. We have to stop it. They've seen the images of starving children. But hey, guess what? This fresh, hip, young, hot congressperson is going to tell you what's what. I came to Israel and I'm going to tell you that your hip hop style comments are anti-Semitic.
Army. Unfortunately, the world is not seeing that. And one of the things I've tried to tell the leadership in Israel, please get that message out. Please expose it. Send pictures. Have testimony from people who are being helped because the world is.
He's like, I'm 750 years old. I've been to Israel 22 times. And I'm saying, like, please do better propaganda, Israel. Come on, dog. It's making it real hard for me to keep collecting cash from AIPAC. See, the thing is, like, why don't you just retire? Like, why? Why don't you just retire? You're literally gonna die, like, in a week, man. Why is this the thing that you want to spend the last days of your existence on this planet doing? I will never understand this. Like, what is that? What compels someone to just do the old man grip strength death claw on their seat of power? Like, you're on 1 HP, okay? You are on 1 HP. You're going to hell, Grandpa. First of all, you're definitely going to hell. If hell exists, you are going there for sure, okay? For sure. And like the last moments that you have on this earth, instead of like, I don't know, spending that with your grandchildren, you're over here defending the genocide of the apartheid state that has to get unlimited funds from America. On the one hand, you're like, oh, I don't think we can get health care for American citizens. Bitch, Israel has free health care, and they got all of their defense covered by us and their offense. Why? I just don't get why these stand to just like spend every waking moment of their lives doing this shit. What compels you? I need to understand. I need to understand why you're still doing this. Boredom, religion? No, it just doesn't make any sense to me, man.
Got a view that I don't think is accurate. One of the critical issues we were concerned is Israel is certainly seized with the critical objective of getting the hostage.
Bro, he can't even speak. Also, this is so stupid and so wrong. Yeah, dude. Israel is so predisposed with like getting the hostages home. They really care about that. Famously, That's why they kill them like all the time. That's why they've killed a shit ton of the hostages. You know, get them home in a body bag.
Hostages home. Sadly, we think most of the hostages.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder why you think most of the hostages aren't alive. Maybe because Israel has bombed them, shot them directly, and also while they were waving white flags, and also starving them. Perhaps that's the reason why many of these hostages are not making it home.
They're still held, are not alive. But we think there are at least 20 that are alive, and we need to do everything we possibly can to get them home.
Also, the remaining quote-unquote hostages are prisoners of war. They're military. They are part of the Israeli occupying force. Okay, that's a different term for it. It's called a prisoner of war. Okay, hostages, on the other hand, are what you could call many of the Palestinians, 10,000 plus, that are in permanent military detention, administrative detention for the crime of being Palestinian within eyesight, within the crosshairs of a settler or an Israeli occupying force soldier that is illegally occupying the West Bank. So, like, those are the hostages, you know, the real hostages.
But in addition to that, we also talked about, and the Israelis, including the prime minister, indicated how important it was to get food to people who were hungry. Once again, Hamas has victimized its own people and does not care about its own people. And
bro, if you could get one-shotted by a spicy chicken nugget, you should stop being in Congress. Every part of this is so busted. Like, he's so old. He's doing unlimited Zionist Hasbara propaganda here, just relitigating the same old dumb shit that we've heard a million times over. And on top of that, it's just like, you're old. You're so goddamn old. You're going to die literally any moment. You're barely breathing. And it's like, with my final breath, I need to save Israel's genocides marketing. I need to make Israel, I need to make people believe that Israel is in the right. It's so dumb. Yeah, he almost said starving and then turned around and said hungry.
Its own people, and does not care about its own people, and has made it very difficult to get the food that they need to them. We urged Netanyahu and the military.
The background music is also incredible. Incredible. Copyright-free market, like copyright-free background music playing as the backdrop of a necrotic carcass older than the genocidal apartheid state, trying to defend the policies of starvation. Incredible. How do you look at this and just think like, man, you know, these are good guys, really invested in their own constituents. Okay, how? They're not invested in anything. They don't want democracy. They hate it. AIPAC Tracker reports 85-year-old Rep. Steny Hoyer has collected over $1.7 million from AIPAC and the Israel lobby.
From Maryland's 5th District and the former Majority Leader of the United States House of Representatives, and a very proud friend of the State of Israel. I join you in celebrating not only 77 years of Israel's independence.
I hate these, man. I hate them. I hate them so much. May this person never experience a moment of joy for the rest of his already very limited time he has on this earth. God damn, dude. God, if there was any, I wish there was real justice on this planet. And these carcasses didn't just get to do whatever they want and continue advocating to murder as many children on the other side of a made-up boundary by a settler colonial state hopped up on Nazi ideology, doing a live stream Holocaust that they get to defend over and over and over again to their last dying breath. God damn it, dude.
To do everything they could to make sure we overcome that challenge. It is a serious time. I think Israel, in its response to October 7th, has made the world safer in many respects, and certainly the Middle East safer, and closer to reaching an agreement on a broadened Abraham's Accord with...
Again, remember, this is the uniparty. That's a Democrat talking about Trump's Abraham Accord policy that literally contributed to October 7 happening, that greatly escalated the tension in the region, okay? Writing out the Palestinians and Palestinian sovereignty from the equation when they're right there as Israel is like continuing to increase the violence of its apartheid regime was what made October 7 inevitable, okay? It turned the environment, it turned the heat on this conflict up by 1,000. This is a Democrat. If there was any sort of disagreement here, you should be actively tackling this issue from a partisan perspective. But you won't. You're dick riding Trump 1's policies, as you're currently also dick riding Trump 2's policies as well, the continuation of the Abraham Accords, just as Joe Biden did. This is the problem. A lot of people still come in here and they yell at me. They're like, bro, you wanted the Republicans to win secretly. Like, that's what you wanted. It's like, no, man. No. I want the Democrats to actually be a force that is a counterbalance against the growing fascism of the Republicans. I despise the Democrats for their closeness to the Republicans, okay? They just sell you a lie and claim that they have to be close to the Republicans so they can win, okay? That's a lie. They don't have to do that at all. And as a matter of fact, they end up losing over and over again because of that. But also, what is a victory of that sort if you are invested in making change? Like, if the difference between a D and an R next to your name is going to be woke and gay genocide versus anti-woke and homophobic genocide, then there is not a significant difference. There's not a significant difference at all. And people increasingly try to hyper-focus on woke versus anti-woke, gay versus homophobic, so that they can justify consistently rewarding the Democrats that are unable or disinterested in fighting against the Republican Party. It's so goddamn frustrating, man. It sucks. But yeah, like I always say, you just cannot give up the fight. You just can't. You just can't stop pressing. You just can't stop pushing these people, because there are a lot of people out there, both domestically in the United States of America, that need our help. There are a lot of people out there around the globe that need our help. They don't have the opportunity to just sit around and exist. They're being slaughtered. So even if it feels like it's for no reason, right? Even if it feels like all of your pressure, all of your pushing is not leading to any sort of reasonable change in the short enough time frame that you want to see that change in, you can't stop pressing. You can't stop putting, and you must not stop putting the next in the right direction. That's it. You just have to put your head down and keep pushing and keep pressing. And if you can't do it because you can't see a positive solution out of this, and you find yourself at the mercy of nihilistic tendencies, you find yourself falling in to a nihilistic opinion that says, what is all of this for? Why should I keep doing this? Everything sucks. Then spite is a good motivator, because Israel and Israel defenders want you to shut the fuck up. Israel defenders want you to feel down. They want you to feel like you have no power in this equation. Okay? So if you're not going to do it for the victims, if you're not going to do it for all of those who have been murdered so far, to make sure that their deaths are not in vain, if you're not going to do it to try and save as many people as possible who haven't been murdered yet, then you can just do it because you are going to piss off some of the worst people on the planet, some of the most annoying people on the planet with your presence. That's why I always say you have to be an undeniable force. Okay? Rarely do you see this much demonstrably false bullshit packed into a video this short. Is the only compelling argument made here is for term limits. Yeah, also, and I'll show you like the little victories.